It is the start of another work week here on this August 17th. And if you know me, if you have been here on the channel for a little bit, well, you could just say that I am a weekend warrior. But as we sit here on another Monday, that means we are here to kick off another week, another work week that we are going to make it a good one. What is going on, Florida Panthers Daily? I am Andrew Sheridan back here with you on this aforementioned August 17th, right here on Florida Panthers Daily, where we go 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And over the weekend, we are going to recap this here today. Getting a little PTSD. Like, wait, is this a dream? Wake up. Wake up. The injuries are done. We're leaving them. We're last year. No. We can't do this again, right? Well, that trend is starting to happen again for the Florida Panthers. We're going to hit on that here today on this Monday. We're going to tell you what the winner that you picked was last week for the best tradition in the Florida Panthers upcoming season. And we're going to start our new poll for this week where you pick the best of something for the Florida Panthers. Here on Florida Panthers Daily, where we go Monday through Friday in the offseason, the grind of the offseason, we have done different polls every week where you vote in the comments down below. So get ready for that later on as we will have our new poll for this week. We've already done best rivalries, best offseason acquisitions, best goals, best playoff series in Panther history. So if you have any idea for what you want our series to be next week, leave it in the comments down below, and we will make one of our weekly series votes here on Florida Panthers Daily. If you want to, just leave it in the comments, any ideas that you may have that we haven't done yet. All right, the housekeeping, the brooms are put away. We are done with the housekeeping, and we move on to the story from over the weekend with the Florida Panthers. And it just, like I mentioned, has PTSD. I just got some goosebumps just thinking about it. Because when I started here with you on Florida Panthers Daily, part of the Fan Arch community, it was in January of this past season. And it felt at this point the Panthers were already behind the eight ball. The injuries had piled up. Brad Marchand was keeping the Panthers afloat, waiting on some other key guys to return. And then we know Marchand started to battle some injuries of his own. He went and played in the Olympics for Team Canada, and then he returned to the Panthers for just a little bit before missing the rest of the year when it felt like it was just everything was going the wrong direction. All the dominoes were falling against the Florida Panthers. You played a full extra season with the previous three postseason runs, and then it finally caught up to the Panthers last year, and it kind of felt like a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Let's not even go to the playoffs last year. Let's not even worry about dealing with any injuries. Let's have an extended offseason before this now extended regular season upcoming for the Florida Panthers. And we sit here in the month of August, and we get news that it's starting to look a little bit like last year. I remember where I was when the news came out last year when Alexander Barkov got hurt in training camp and he would be out for the entire regular season. And I'm not saying this is to this extent, but it starts to get a little scary. And you know, with age, injuries are going to happen, and that was part of the risk of signing Brad Marchand to this long-term contract deal. And if you missed the news, what I am talking about is Brad Marchand announced on his social media that he is going to have some surgery, and he hopes to get back on the ice soon for that groin that he did injure at the end of last year. He announced it when he was supposed to go play in his former teammate Zdeno Charo's farewell game. Charo was one of my favorite players growing up, playing the NHL video game because you could just hit anyone, and he was massive. And Marchand was supposed to go play in his farewell game, had to announce to the fans that he's going to have to get some surgery. And they were trying to fix the injury without surgery. Marchand said that in the release video that he said it wasn't able to happen, and it's kind of last minute. With the time and recovery I'm going to need, I'm not going to be able to make it to play it in that game, the farewell game he's talking about. Unfortunately, he said it's very disappointing. I just wanted to let you all know that I was really excited and honored to be part of the game, but I won't be able to make it now. I have to take care of my rehab. Yeah, of course, that lower body injury kept Brad Marchand out of Panther games last year at the start of the year when I was here starting the podcast with you on Florida Panthers Daily in January and February before he played, like I mentioned, for Team Canada. And then he went on the long-term IR in the middle of March. And he said when it happened, Paul Maurice said when it happened, I think if there isn't surgery, we're still talking long-term. So we knew last year he was going to be done when he finished the season with 27 goals, 54 points in 52 games after putting pen to paper and inking in that large contract with the Panthers in the just last offseason. And if you talk about it at the end of the season, Marchand said he got hurt in December, was just playing through it. He said obviously the Olympics were a big goal that he wanted to do, and he really wanted at that point. He said that January it got worse. There was a point where it started to get better last year. This is all from at the end of the year. He said, I thought I was past it, and unfortunately it got really bad there, so they were going to deal with it at the end of the season. And now we are back. So where can the Panthers turn to replace Brad Marchand? Are you going to look to bring up one of those prospects that we hit on our prospect series a few weeks back here on Florida Panthers Daily? Or do you look to someone that maybe is still out there in the free agent market like Patrick Lane? That is the name I have seen out there and I think would be a good fit for the Florida Panthers, Bill Zito, Paul Maurice, to get Patrick Lane to come here and be a little bit of a fill-in, even if he doesn't play a lot of minutes, maybe not as much ice time as you would have expected Brad Marchand to be playing. He is a player who has experience with Paul Maurice. He had a 40-plus goal season when he was with the Jets, when Coach Maurice was with the Jets, and then after that, he started to tail off a little bit. So you hate to have to look to replace people when it's only August 17th, but that is where the Panthers are sitting right now. There's also more ties to the Panthers for Lane than just playing with the Winnipeg Jets, playing with Coach Paul Maurice. He is also from Finland and grew up playing with Alexander Barkov, not to mention that he has been working out this offseason in South Florida as he still is a free agent and he's looking to have some tryouts because Brad Marchand, it looks like, will miss all of training camp and even the start of the season. And last year, Lane played 5 games with the Canadiens, didn't score with them, but he was dealing with an injury. He got shut down for injury. So some other players within the Florida Panthers, Sanis Vilmanis, Lundell's going to have to step up. Luosterainen is going to have to step up. And this wouldn't be long-term if you go and get a guy like Lane, but it's just you need to find a replacement for Brad Marchand before it starts to pile up again. And now you're relying on these other guys to play, be on the ice more. And we saw that last year. What happens is it starts to pile up. So we sit here on August 17th on Florida Panthers Daily just, oh, brother, here we go again. And it sucks. We don't want to be talking about it, especially in the offseason. Injuries are going to happen when the season happens and the games get played. But to be talking about it right now, it sounds like a broken record. Enough of that. Let's move on now to my favorite part, to get you involved. We're putting that behind us. We're gonna figure out the injuries. We're gonna see what moves the Florida Panthers make. There's some speculation out there that will bring some players in. What there is no speculation about is that last week you voted for the best tradition for the Florida Panthers. And if you remember what all of them were, it was the Rats on the ice after the win, the Red in the national anthem, the pregame drum, the Sawgrass Mills pregame. That was our final 4. And after all the votes were tallied on Friday, you guys pick the winner that was pretty easy. In my opinion, it is the Rats on the ice after wins. And this feeling as a fan, there is nothing better. I remember as a kid, me and my buddies would be whacking each other with the tails when we were at the games, just trying to mess with each other. And then you're a little kid, and you got to get it up and over the nets when you're sitting behind the glass. It was always one of the best feelings as a fan. I remember sitting up in the rafters for a playoff game a few years back. It was against the Capitals, the year the Panthers won the President's Trophy. And seeing, all right, warm up the arm a little bit. Let's see what this old guy still got. Let's see if we can get it up and get it up over the nets and onto the ice. And I was able to do it. And that feeling is so awesome. You know the tradition about finding a rat in the locker room. And the Panthers have found a way to carry that here all the way to 2026. And it feels extra special when you have seen the Rats on the ice after a Stanley Cup. And the vote last week was best traditions this upcoming year for the Florida Panthers. So let's hope we can see the Rats on the ice after a Stanley Cup win again. Because, man, that feeling, I just want hockey back. That's all it is as we sit here on this Monday, August 17th. I just want hockey to come back. But now let's turn the page to this week as we sit here on a Monday and figure out what the best game this upcoming season is for the Florida Panthers. You know, there are a lot of big games with the returns, players returning to their old teams, playing the champs on opening night. There are a lot of good games, and before I give you what the 6 will be this week, I'm just going to give you my personal favorite game, and that will be happening on the road November 14th against the St. Louis Blues. My brother was just in town out here visiting me, and we spent the day Friday and yesterday in St. Louis. We were around the Cardinals arena. We went by the Enterprise Center, enjoying the time in St. Louis. There is a passionate fan base out here, and I'm ready on November 14th, a Saturday, to walk into the Enterprise Arena and walk out with a Florida Panther win. Maybe I'll have to buy a rat off Amazon or something for that, because you said it. It's the best tradition for the Florida Panthers is getting the rats on the ice. So maybe I'll sneak a rat into the Enterprise Center and throw that on the ice after seeing a Florida Panther win. But the best games this upcoming season for the Florida Panthers that we will be voting on this week, not we, I picked the games. You will be voting. My loyal subscribers, my loyal fans here on Florida Panthers Daily. If you are not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us down below. Let's rank the top 6 games. I didn't really rank these in any order. Number 1, I put at number 1 for a reason, because I wanted to get a bye. The rest I kind of seeded, and it is going to be up to you. So in the comments down below, or I'll tell you what all 6 are, and then I'll tell you what today's matchup is. All 6 of the best games this upcoming year. Number 1, you have Sergei Bobrovsky returning to Sunrise, the 2-time Stanley Cup goaltender with the Toronto Maple Leafs now on March 6th. That is our 1 seed. You have opening night versus the Carolina Hurricanes, the defending champs. The first game of this extended NHL season, extended by 2 games this year on September 29th. You have the home opener versus the Wild on October 10th, the first time we get to see the Cats back inside Emirates Bank Arena. You have Brady Tkachuk's return to Ottawa on October 21st, I have on the list. The Oilers come to Sunrise for the first time on November 17th, and the Lightning are in Sunrise. Now this one, anytime the Lightning are in town, it's a fun one. But there's one game the day after Christmas. They come to Sunrise for the first time November 28th. I won't narrow down on that one. I'll just say when the Lightning come to Sunrise. And that is where today's vote will go. Today's vote is between the number 3 seed and the number 6 seed. It is the home opener versus the Minnesota Wild on October 10th versus the Tampa Bay Lightning in Sunrise. I'll leave it at that. But specifically the day after Christmas, because it's the holiday season, I might be back in town, so I might be able to go to the game. So in the comments down below, hit that subscribe button. Leave in the comments down below, what is the best game that you are looking forward to this upcoming year? Is it the home opener versus the Wild on October 10th, or is it the Lightning in Sunrise November 28th and December 26th? That is the vote for today. Get your comments in down below. We will pick the winner, and we will find out who the winner is tomorrow. But first, before we get out of here on this Monday, let's respond to some of the comments that you left here for us on Florida Panthers Daily on Friday. And Suppabumma, I think that's how you say your username. I hope you're subscribed. I thank you for commenting. We're close to 500 subscribers. That's the goal that we are trying to get to before the season. Let's get to that. 500 before the season. You said, how about yelling Rockets during the national anthem when Burr was on the team? How about seeing Dancing Sal on center ice video screen during the second intermission? And then you went on to say, that was during the Miami Arena days. Yeah, that was before my days. Okay, so I didn't have it in the vote last week for best traditions. I was keeping it a little more current as we sit here in the offseason, trying to get ready and gear up for this upcoming season. And there were a lot of comments. You guys seem to unanimously pick rats on the ice as the best tradition for the Florida Panthers this upcoming season. But thank you for your comments down below. It helps the channel. It helps me. It helps us keep the lights on as we sit here with you in the middle of another grueling, hot offseason. All right, Florida Panthers Daily, I'm getting ready to get up and get out of here. Let's attack the week. That's what I had there. It's a Monday. We got a fun vote this week. Leave your vote in the comments down below. Is it opening night that you think will be the best game that you're looking forward to this upcoming season? Or is it when the Lightning come to town the day after Christmas? Say Lightning or say Wild in the comments down below. That subscribe button does more than you know. I appreciate it when you hit that subscribe button. Let's continue to run those numbers up, and we're going to push through this week and hope that somehow we don't get more injury news. Not somehow. We shouldn't. Let's not. The Tkachuks, we talked about it last week, are gearing up. They're starting to prepare for the season more. They're getting their bodies back into shape, and it's frustrating. We sit here on August 17th already having to talk about injuries when it felt like we talked enough about injuries for 3 seasons last year. Let's hope the Panthers can avoid the bug this year and make another run at a Stanley Cup. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Get your comments in. I will see you tomorrow. And until then, Florida Panthers Daily, let's go Cats.